Excuse me. Okay. Welcome back to Trigun Anime Review Part 2. This is reviewing episodes 5 through 8. Yep. And we're into more canon episodes. Unlike last time where it was like one filler episode, it was like 3 filler episodes, 1 canon. This was 3 canon, 1 filler. Yeah, episode 6 is mostly a filler. Yep. Now, the episodes are canon. 5, 7, and 8 covered pretty much the first 9 chapters of the series. Yep, the first 9 chapters. Huh. Yep. Now, here's kind of the interesting thing about these episodes. It's pretty much forming a continuous series. With episode number 5, we have sort of a serialization. Yep. The series becomes serialized for the first time ever in the series. After having 4 straight standalone episodes with loosely connected, these are basically straight into each other in kind of a way. Because here's kind of the thing. The first episodes, you have Vasha Stampede along with Meryl and Millie in this town called Imperial City, where they have a dying plant, and the people who actually find out he is kind of Vasha Stampede. So they decide to basically unleash he somehow inadvertently caused the whole bar be held hostage, and they really want to get people released. So people from the Nebraska family are basically summoned. Yeah, in Nebraska, these two, this big hulking guy and his father, who's just in a pouch. It's like a giant of a man. And Vash beats him in less than about 5 minutes. Yeah, it's a pretty quick fight, and because of the fact they captured him, and here's kind of the thing. It's mentioned later on that apparently they broke out 5 hours before they were captured. Yep, and there was a $700,000 bounty on their head. And they really need to... First they want to capture Vash because of the fact that, because of his bounty, and they really needed the town to survive because the plant is dying. And there's a malfunction that needs to be fixed, but they don't have the money to fix it. So, they thought Vash, but okay. Then they caught Nebraska, which was actually... Here's kind of the strange thing. The mayor of the town, who is one of the union heads, basically broke these guys out just to take on Vash. But basically, with them getting captured, basically hiring engineers. Yep. Oh yeah, and Meryl took her 5 episodes notices that the man she's been following since episode 1 is in fact Vasha Stampede. Yep. Took her 5 episodes and finally realizes, oh yeah, tall, blonde hair with red coat. Yep, this is the guy she's looking for. And with the very next episode, the engineers show up on a steamship, which the steamship becomes a plot device for the next 2 episodes. Yeah, it shows up first in episode 6 and continues all the way to episode 8. I think it's going to show up in episode 9, but I'll get to that when I get to that one. Yep, and the leader of these engineers is a smoking hot woman who's got a past with Vash. Yep. And reveals the reason why he's got a bounty on his head. Yeah, that's revealed in this episode. I'll get to that in a minute. She brings her engineers to repair the plant. Yep, because they have the money to pay for it, so why not? So, bring engineers in. And then, of course, she kind of hires Vash to be a bodyguard. After he's oh, will you marry me? He's also basically, even though they didn't introduce each other yet, they barely know each other, and he really wants to marry her because she's smoking hot. What guy wouldn't? And plus, she's rich. Yeah, she's rich. And I'll get to in a minute, basically, her past with Vash. So, and of course, the insurance lady decided to follow him because that's what they do. Visit the plant. And first, basically, there was an attack on her, but lucky enough, she switched rooms. On the registry, mind you. Yep. So, this assassin, who's got knives, Vash takes him out pretty easily. First, he breaks one window and says, "Hey, can you leave, please?" And he's like, "Sure." And of course, the broom blows up, too. He's like, "Hey, my room was destroyed. Can I stay in yours?" She's like, "Nah, you got a bed right there." So Vash has to sleep outside. They don't mention it, but he probably did. Yep, so they get to the plant the next day. They get the place up and running until something is wrong with one of the units and they almost look like it's going to be overload. And this is where Bosch's basically strange history comes in. Yeah, I'm going to reveal this right now. Bosch is not human. Yeah, that's not revealed a little bit later, but yeah, there's a mysterious past. I'm not reveal what species this is yet. I'm not going to reveal that till later, but yeah. Apparently, the planet is made from lost technology from 100 years prior to the series. So apparently, this planet they're on, it's not assumed this is Earth. Yeah, they don't say what this planet is. It's just some planet in the future. Well, some Wild West future where it's kind of like the Wild West in a way, but with modern guns and being sort of steampunk. And there's a sand steamer. Apparently, there's no body of water on this planet. There's water, yes, but there's no body, there's no ocean. There's no mention of an ocean on this planet. Yeah, because we don't see much of it for these first 8 episodes. So they go to the room, and Vosh gets locked in by the woman, who apparently she blames him for the destruction of the city of July. Yes, apparently Vosh was indirectly responsible for the destruction of the city, leaving millions of people homeless and inadvertently causing the death of their parents, and she blames him for it. Though there's this tall man seeing her flashbacks that kind of helped her. It's revealed later exactly what's going on with Vosh. So he decides to save the plant in the most unusual way possible, putting his hands up like this and sort of rearranging it because apparently somehow he knows how to use this lost technology. Yeah, at this point it's not thoroughly explained exactly what the heck he is. And he ends up saving the plant. The plant gets restored to normal. And then like the very next day, of course he became a hero like usual. And then like the next day, he leaves. In the 7th episode of the series called BND, which stands for Brilliant Dynamite Neon. And he gets in the steam. Now the lady is nowhere to be seen in this next episode. She's not even mentioned. They just go on the ship, and somehow the insurance ladies have to tag along because they need to because it's Bosch. So he first basically gets he gets sleep like in some kind of like second or third class, like near the bottom of the ship, like in the corner. And then he's like hired to be a bodyguard, at least part of the security force because of how famous he is. So he gets on first class room, and he also runs into a kid, who he also has to buy groceries for, because the kid's hungry. It's kind of really the kid's a stowaway, but what this kid's doing, yeah, it's a little bit later. So apparently, because they're going to a place called the Badlands, much like Badlands, like, is this, now, they call this canyon the Badlands, which we're looking at, it looks kind of like the Grand Canyon in a way. I mean, is this place based on the Grand Canyon? I mean, I don't know if the writer of the series, which I had the manga book right here, Yoshiro Naito, I don't know if he's ever been to the U.S., but this place, pictures, I mean, looking at it, because I've seen pictures of the Grand Canyon, and this place looks almost exactly like the Grand Canyon. They don't say it is, based on it, they just call it simply the Badlands, a canyon per se. I'm thinking, the Badlands. Like, the only time I've heard that term for an area that's really bad is Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager. Yeah, there was an area of space referred to as the Badlands in that show, in those two shows. Though in the case of Deep Space Nine, they actually spent a good chunk of the show. They actually had many episodes there in Deep Space Nine. In Voyager, just the pilot episode and like a couple flashback episodes. That's pretty much it when it comes to the Badlands in that series. Yep. And my guess is because this series came out toward the end of DS9's run, maybe he just happened to like the name from DS9. You probably heard it from the Japanese, like their dub of the show released in Japan. So he must like, hey, why don't I do that for my series? So we come here, and there's a big group of bandits. Looks like they're well funded, and they got like fancy guns. They got these big steampunk style uniforms. They look like hunchbacks wearing these damn things. Who these people are, they don't show exactly who people are. Oh yeah, and the people who run the ship, the steam steamer, apparently look like they were regular cruise liner ships, because this is basically a cruise ship, kind of in the way. They don't thoroughly explain what the type of chip it is. Because the sand steamer only show up just in the last episode, in episode 6. So they go with the kid, and it's revealed that the kid who Vosh helped is working with them somewhat. He kind of turns against it because he doesn't like where their direction is going. Let's say he doesn't like what they're doing per se. Oh, by the way, the leader's uniform looks very futuristic. Like, I look at this guy. It looks like this guy was pulled out of the pulp science fiction era with his fancy ray gun, which, appearance-wise, his gun looks like a frickin' ray gun. Yeah. But the problem is, it only shoots bullets. Yep, despite the fact it looks like a fancy ray gun, those old classic black and white sci-fi movies, and its outfit basically screams that, but there's nothing that says this guy is sci-fi based. It's just by his coat, his hat, even his fancy gun. His subordinates don't do that at all. And as for the insurance ladies, they're locked in a room, and then they knock out a couple guards. They're actually in a warehouse where what happened their trunks are in. Basically, these fancy suitcases. Yeah, these are nice looking suitcases. And they knock them out, put on the uniforms, and eventually they start seeing later on, basically in episode 8, and actually confronting the main villain of the storyline, which only lasts for a couple episodes. He sort of gets redeemed by the end of the storyline. He seems like the first real villain in the series who actually acts like a proper villain throughout most of it, instead of being just some bland, one-shot character who just appears just being stupid, just being stupid of it. I mean, this guy has got awesome-looking cars. I mean, some of the stuff here looks like it's inspired by Mad Max. Yep, Mad freaking Max. Yeah, so yeah. So, basically, Vosh finds out, though, the kid actually is the son of the guy who designed this ship. Apparently, the ship is actually quite old. They don't say exactly how old the ship is. The ship looks like it's about 30, 40 years old, per se. It's possible. And this ship looks like it was not kept in good shape over the years. Yeah, and they apparently don't know what to do. And apparently the original helmsman of the ship was driving an... Now, here's kind of the thing. They had this pipe system, which, from what I can tell, is based upon, World War II era submarines. I don't think they actually use these nowadays. I have no idea. But this looks like old-fashioned tech. Which, by the way, this tech was also used... I believe they kind of use this in One Piece, kind of on the ships. On the Navy ships, mind you. Yeah, I think I've seen it there. But I think that's it for what I've seen on when it comes to ships. Yep. Now, in the case of what these guys do, apparently they want something inside this vault. What looks like the vault. They don't know what's inside this room. Apparently the key to this place kept in the city. Yeah, they actually go to this room later on. It turns out it's engine room 2. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. They revealed that in episode. They revealed the second part of this two-parter. Yep. And, well, the kid basically who gets injured in the process. Now, in the case of... Now, before all this, basically, Vosh gives him a pen. I'm thinking, a pen? What's special about this pen? Apparently, the pen is kind of a walkie-talkie. And apparently, the other part of it, the sister part of this technology, is in Vosh's ear. I'm like, okay. So, apparently, now, I get the fact it's plant, which basically, I mean, it looks like a giant freaking light bulb. Why it looks like this, I have no idea. It's a series, mind you. Yep. As for where Vosh got this tech from, it's not explained in this episode. It's one of the many mysteries about this character. By the way, he's actually, he's identified as Vosh. He never introduced himself as Vosh. He's just a guy who just likes love and peace. Yep. So, this why it gets ruined in the process, taking out the guys. He's sort of chastised by the kid for not killing these guys, for how terrible these people are. and then eventually gets up to leader. Actually, faced him twice. First time was on the bridge, and then second time again on the bridge. This time he challenged him a duel. A duel that Bosch wins, despite the fact he tears up his wounds, and the guy basically turns face and helps him stop the frickin' steamship. And the episode ends. Now, they kind of hinted at this also in the previous episode as well. There's this mysterious woman from Bosch's past named Rem, which I'm not going to reveal how this woman is connected to Bosch. Now, I'll reveal that later, probably in a later review. And then pretty much like Bosch, you see her again in a vision. It looks like a flashback. Apparently, she's singing the same song the kid is singing at the end of the episode. Now, when I heard this dub voice, I'm like, hey, you're Izzy from Digimon. Yeah, this is probably the same voice actress from that particular series, who probably just appears for these 2 episodes and maybe appears next one. I don't know, but I'll figure it out when I watch episode 9. I gotta say, for these 4 episodes, now also episode 8 is basically called "And Between the Wasteland and the Sky." That's the name of the last one. I gotta say, unlike the first episodes, were pretty decent what they are. These episodes are awesome. They're really good. It basically is like developing Bosch as a character, something that apparently the first 4 episodes are missing. The only thing they mention about him is the fact that he's the human typhoon, the fact he's got a $60 billion bounty on his head, and he's wanted for some crimes. That's it. You get a vague description of the character in the first 2 episodes. With these 2 episodes, you actually develop him. There's a mysterious woman named Rem, the fact he's indirectly responsible for the destruction of an actual city, which they don't explain how the heck that happened, the fact he has a connection to lost technology, the fact he can use his technology, and the fact he has a connection to a one-shot character, which I thought was really good. And it seems as though that it finally, by episode 5, yeah, apparently Meryl finally realizes that the guy she's been following the whole series, up until this point, is the guy they're looking for. Why she was oblivious to this, my guess is because the fact the first few episodes were filler. That's my personal guess anyways. Yep. These episodes overall are really fantastic. Though, here's kind of the interesting thing about this particular 7 episodes. It's by far the first series I've seen in quite a while to feature blood. And, yeah, probably the first time I can think of now. I know One Piece has shown blood several times in this series. But not many series basically has shown blood. Not to the extent basically shown in this series. Or characters getting killed off like they were nothing. Yeah, this is probably by far, like episode 7, are probably by far the most violent episodes of the series so far. It probably gets more violent after this, but yeah. Now, characters using guns to kill other characters in the series, I personally watched. As far as I can tell, aside from this series, the other series I can think of they've done something like this. Also, when I forgot to mention, when Vash first meets the kid, he pretty much breaks his sunglasses, which he's without the sunglasses about the rest of the episode. Even the following episode, which, gotta give kudos to the fact there's continuity there. He doesn't have sunglasses because they were wrecked by the kid. And I'm sure he's going to get back later because, look, he has them on this cover, so he probably got new set of sunglasses. Yeah, where the heck these sunglasses come from is never explained in the series. At least they'll stop doing the whole thing of, oh yeah, he wears beginning of the episode, loses them, and then by the start of the next episode, he's doing the same thing again. Like, wears sunglasses, loses them, and then he's missing for the rest of the episode. Bosch does use his gun in this episode. He doesn't kill anybody per se. He wounds a lot of people, but he doesn't kill them. Oh yeah, he also basically steals a bunch of machine guns from a couple guys. Yeah. And shows the fact that Bosch is a very good... he's a good marksman with his gun. I mean, his gun is an awesome looking weapon. It's just that, well, they don't... Oh, also, I thought it was so funny, though, they call, like, Meryl's partner, Molly, like, Molly the stun girl. Excuse me. Because she basically takes out 2 guys with her big, humongous barrel gun. Yeah, I thought that was so funny. Even it's pointed out, though, by Vashi that she's more scary than the woman who... than her partner. Yeah, which I think is so hilarious. Yeah. But Despite the fact these episodes are kind of dark, a couple episodes are kind of dark, there's good comedic timing with these episodes, which I think is quite neat. Yep. So, not much else to say about these 4 episodes. I'm looking forward to the next few because the very next episode, a new character shows up. A character who shows up for pretty much the rest of the series. Yep, a very important character. The main villain of the series has not shown up yet. But the last of the regular characters gets, with the exception of the main villain, gets introduced in the very next episode, which I'm looking forward to that. Which, by the way, adapts from chapter 18. Which, like, why the heck get that for going straight to chapter 10? I have no idea. It's particularly very bizarre of how in the world they actually make this series. Yep. But yeah, not much else to say about these episodes except they're really good. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. I might not get time to do part 3, which basically will be the next 4 episodes of the series, 9 through 12. Yeah, probably at this point tomorrow, along with Black Clover. Yep. But until you see you next view. Bye.